Hi, welcome to today's virtual roundtable for all SMPS volunteers. Chapter Awards, what's new for 2017 and how to use the criteria for strategic planning. Thanks for joining me. This is Natalie Gossard, Chapter Services Manager. I'm going to provide you today with information on the SMPS Chapter Awards program and everything that's new for 2017. So please feel free to submit your questions via the chat box as we go along. I'll also stop at the end and we'll have a very rich Q&A. So the SMPS Striving for Excellence, SFE acronym, better known as SFE of course, and the Chapter President of the Year, CPY. These awards make up our Chapter Awards program, and this program has existed since about the 1990s. And over the years, it's really evolved into a fantastic program and way to showcase your chapter's efforts, really showcasing how you are all effectively serving your members and the society overall. So I say the program has evolved because really each year we've been receiving more and more submittals, and these submittals are more comprehensive, and I believe it's due in part to the criteria being updated each year. And the criteria is updated every year. It's based on chapter volunteer and judges' feedback. So both SFE and the CPY committees have conducted and completed a thorough review of the criteria to include feedback from chapters and judges, and the updates have all been made now for 2017. And with these criteria updates, I really feel strongly that this is where the criteria can truly be used as a roadmap or a checklist for all chapters. You can sit down now with your team, review the criteria, check off what you're currently doing in your chapter, and pinpoint where you have gaps. And to fill these gaps, you can then review the previous winning submittals and find out just what these award-winning chapters are doing to serve their members so well. So for example, SMPS Maryland has impressively won grand prize now for SFE these past 2 years. If you review their 2016 submittal, you can really learn about what they're doing. You can read about their client panel programs, their senior advisory council roundtables, their volunteer policy and procedures manual. Yes, they have one. That's fantastic. And really how they collaborate with other chapters and industry associations. And this is just to name a few of the great things that they're doing. And you can see them all showcased in their submittal. They're really an extremely successful chapter. So take a look at their submittal for the past 2 years, both submittals, and see for yourself within their winning submittals just how they do it. And it goes without saying that all of our chapter presidents strive to lead effectively. I know that. The past presidents of SMPS Twin Cities and SMPS Boston truly stood out. You can read about Tiana's servant leadership style and Ben's innovative style as they're showcased in their winning CPY submittals the past couple years. So the bottom line, the SMPS Chapter Awards program showcases chapter management excellence while serving as roadmaps or checklists for all chapters. Let's jump into our Chapter President of the Year award. The CPY Award recognizes an SMPS chapter president who has demonstrated excellence in leadership while serving the chapter and its members. Now, last year, 9 chapters submitted their presidents for this prestigious award. Your current 2016-17 chapter president is eligible for this 2017 award. The reporting time period is September 1st, 2016 through August 31st of 2017. And all nominations must be made by a current SMPS member. The submittal due date is going to be February 2nd of 2018. So the 2017 criteria is attached to this program as a handout for your review, and you can always download it. It's available within your All Chapter Leaders community of MySMPS. The CPY submission requires 5 pages or less describing how the president initiated or influenced 5 criteria points. Also requires 3 letters of support from SMPS members and a 500-word or less executive summary. Now the submission format is PDF, electronic copy, and 1 hard copy, and the hard copy is required for display purposes only. So as I shared, the criteria for both SFE and CPY has been updated. The first major update for both is the reporting time period. Previously, the time period it just really didn't cover an entire program year, and I know chapters were scrambling to provide and showcase complete details as their submittals were coming due in spring, just as many chapters were ramping up events and programs, ramping up their events and programs. So really the timing did not work out. And the feedback on this challenge was loud and clear from chapters, and you know what, we heard you. So the reporting time period is now one full programming year, runs September 1st through August 31st. And this is in line with the Society's fiscal year. So now chapters have the opportunity to record all the activities throughout the year, a full year. And when the program year ends, chapters can now create their submittals. The CPY submittal is now due the first week in February of 2018. We're going to honor these 2017 winners at Build Business, SMPS's annual conference, in 2018. And the same timeline is going to be in effect going forward. Now, we're not skipping the honors for 2016-17. We're just celebrating later, giving all the chapters time to reflect upon their year and submit. The next update is the requirement of an executive summary. This summary provides the opportunity to share how your chapter's success really couldn't have been possible without your president's leadership. Also provides an opportunity for the judges to get to know the nominee and to better understand their focus and strategy. The main criteria points for CPY, they are leadership, chapter management, society awareness, membership, and chapter programming/events. They received a really deep dive review by the CPY committee and headquarters staff. And we found that many past submissions really lacked info on how presidents were specifically leading their chapters in these areas, how they approached challenges, what skill sets they possessed, and how they applied these skills. So, honestly, and it's rather unfortunate, it was appearing that there was some cutting of sections from SFE submissions that were being pasted into CPY submissions. So we found these submissions really were lacking an overall leadership element. The submissions were comprised of a lot of stats, very heavy on stats, and not really how the presidents were actually leading their chapters. So we've incorporated more of an overall leadership element to the criteria so that you can really provide open-ended sharing on your president's leadership style and include the actions and results. CPY submissions should now really, in theory, and based on the updated criteria, showcase what is expected from all presidents, all SMPS presidents, in addition to the exemplary leadership of the winner. I have to extend a huge thank you to the committee for all of their work. The committee was and is comprised of the last two CPYs, last two chapter presidents of the year, which would have been Ben and Tiana, two previous CPY committee members, and HQ staff. This very thorough revamp we did for 2017 criteria, again, remember, it was based on feedback from previous judges, staff, and chapter and society leaders. This can really, truly provide a roadmap for presidents-elect and presidents. And the executive summary will allow the judges to understand from where the president is coming, what obstacles he or she tackled throughout their year, what market the chapter serves, etc., no matter what the chapter size. So what else is new? All pages are required to be 8.5 by 11 for consistency. 2 of the letters of support are required to be from the nominee's current board. And remember, the winner is not being skipped this year, but will be honored at Build Business in 2018 in San Diego. And last but not least, the submittal process is going to be enhanced. I'm really excited about this. We've contracted the awards management software platform that's used by our MCA awards this year. It's fantastic. The submission process for 2017 will now all be online. You're going to be able, all chapters are going to be able to upload directly online. You'll be able to receive confirmations and notifications about your award submittal, and you'll be able to check in on the status. Judges are going to be able to review all the submissions online. They can download them if they wish, and they'll be able to input their scoring online. Super easy. The software really streamlines the entire process for everyone, chapters, judges, and me, allowing us all to focus on the quality of submissions, the judging, and the overall program. It's super exciting. More to come on the process, and links will be pushed out as we get closer to submittal due dates. Now, on to the Striving for Excellence. The SFE Award recognizes chapters who significantly advance and enhance professional services marketing and BD through excellent programs, strong leadership, increased membership, quality communications, and strong financial health. We had 18 SFV submittals last year. We had 8 from large chapters, 7 from medium chapters, and 3 from extra large chapters. Now, we have 58 chapters now, 58. We just added Rio Grande Valley about a month ago. Very exciting. So we have 58 chapters, but we only had 18 SFV submittals last year. So if your chapter is not submitted, why not? We know you're all doing great things to effectively serve our members. So it's really time to showcase your chapter. Now, all chapters are eligible to submit, and they're all judged within chapter size categories. So we have small, medium, large, and XL. The winner of each category is then judged to select an overall grand prize winner. The submission is limited to 12 pages, and these 12 pages provide a synopsis of your chapter's activities, accomplishments, and achievements in 5 different areas. You can see them on the screen: programming, education, leadership, chapter management, membership, communications, and financial health. The addenda, if you choose to include, is limited to 15 pages and should only include supplemental info. Now, the judges are very thoroughly instructed to not judge addenda for the required content. So additionally, a 500-word or less executive summary is now required. The submission format is PDF, and 1 hard copy is required for display purposes only, just like CPY. The SFV submittals are going to be due January 26th. Actually, the electronic copies are due January 26th. The hard copies aren't due to headquarters until a week later. The 2017 committee, which was comprised of 1 chair and past SFV judges, sent a survey to all 2014 and 15 chapter presidents, and then they called current presidents to solicit feedback on the program. You know what? The time required and lack of volunteer resources was ranked #1 for reason that the chapters did not submit. A few presidents also expressed concern with the subjectivity of judging, and that chapters were really not judged fairly, given that they operate in and serve different markets. Well, for 2017, we address these. You're going to find, first of all, the reporting time period change, same as CPY that I shared earlier. It's now a full program year. This can really assist with the planning. You now have a full year to keep track of your accomplishments, and you now have 4 to 5 months to prepare your submittal. This is really going to give all chapters an opportunity to pull in the volunteers to assist. Perhaps, parse out sections to draft to different committee members. One person doesn't have to go it alone working on the submittal. There's now more calendar time to pull the information together. This should prove very helpful for many chapters. The criteria is attached to today's program. It's also available to be downloaded to the All Chapter Leaders Community Library. And when you do review the criteria, you're going to see there's no requirement for a theme or fancy graphics. There never has been. And you know what? I understand your industry. I certainly respect the fact that by nature, I know you all want to make everything, visually fantastic. And yes, submittals typically do have a theme, and I understand this is an easy way to compile information, but please keep in mind that judges are judging on content only. Graphics and pictures, if they're included, could add to your submittal, but not having them is not going to take away from your submittal. So that's easy if you think of it that way. Presenting your info clearly, stating or showing your metrics clearly, and of course without typos, and covering all the criteria points is expected. If your chapter has plans to cover a criteria point, include that in your submission. For example, if it's something you're not yet doing, but you have plans to cover the criteria point, include that. Don't omit a section or keep your chapter from submitting because of only 1 point. Now, the judges receive training and instructions on how to judge. The required executive summary, which is new again for 2017, is really going to allow your chapter to summarize why you should be awarded. You can share details of current and previous challenges, your chapter membership makeup. Tell us about your market description and your overall approach to meeting member needs. This is really going to help the judges get to know your chapter and to better understand your approach. And the committee headquarters staff and I really believe this is going to address the subjectivity in judging. So what else is new for 2017? Well, the addenda is now limited to 15 pages over the previous 30 pages which were allowed. So this year it's only 15 pages. And this is because judges are really seeing too much extraneous info. And there was also feedback from chapters that educated us that some chapters, just really didn't know what to do with 30 pages of the addenda. So they just started adding photos to fill in the 30 pages. Well, no need to take that extra time. We've also tweaked and reweighted some of the points to emphasize the importance, for example, of new member orientations because they assist in member retention. You know how that goes hand in hand. Retention. We've also tweaked points to reflect the importance of being able to share a financial statement that provides an accurate overview of your chapter's fiscal responsibility and financial health. So all this said, you'll now see that the new member orientation that hopefully your chapter has weights slightly higher than a mentoring program, only by 2 points. In the finance area, as I shared earlier, we allotted an additional 3 points for the financial statement to stress the importance of revisiting each month your financial statement. You really should be revisiting this each month during meetings, and this is really for transparency for your chapter. Last but not least, as I shared during the CPY review, we've contracted with the awards management software platform used by our MCA awards. So the submission process for 2017 chapter awards will now all be online. Fingers crossed, easy peasy for all. So, giving you the information on CPY, giving you information on SFE. Do you feel as if perhaps your chapter is not ready to submit for the full SFE to provide us information on all those 5 criteria points? Well, we have 2 more SFE programs that you can submit for. One is the Chapter Communications Award, and this recognizes chapters that have an outstanding newsletter, demonstrate outstanding use of social media, or have an outstanding website. Chapter Programs Award recognizes chapters that have developed an outstanding special event or outstanding educational program. So for communications, we received only 5 submittals last year. Only 5. 58 chapters. Come on, volunteers. I see your great websites. I understand and see what you're doing on social media, these great campaigns you have. Why not showcase them for all to see? For programs, we only had 8 submittals last year. And I know every chapter is conducting programming and holding at least 1 event. Why not showcase what you're doing? The example of a special event for the programs are these holiday functions that you have, charitable events, or other social gatherings that don't have an educational component. Now last year, SMPS Austin won first place. They submitted on their black and white ball. Their black and white ball was a cocktail party, great submittal. They tied this party in with their communications and individual awards. And you know what? Their sponsorship sold out before the event tickets did. Great event. You can review their submittal within the All Chapter Leaders community of My SMPS and the Chapter Awards program. An example of an educational program is a seminar, workshop, panel, or webinar that offers education within one of the 6 domains of practice. All chapters are offering educational programming. So last year, SMPS Houston won first place on their program. It was on teaching BD to technical folks. How great is that? Now, I recall that they brainstormed this program for at least a couple years prior to executing it, and it garnered close to $6,000 in net income, along with great reviews from attendees. So, and I do remember also now that they plan to use the money to reinvest into their member experience. Great stuff, great submittals. So again, if you do not believe that your chapter is ready to submit for a full SFE award, perhaps consider scaling back this year. Just go for Chapter Communications Award or Chapter Programs Award. And when you're ready to see how SMPS pulled off their black and white ball event, or how SMPS Houston developed and implemented that great program, BD for technical folks, or even what SMPS Maryland is doing overall, remember, having won grand prize now the last 2 years, great for them, you can review these winning submittals. You can get great ideas and apply these to your chapter. Share these with your chapter team. Remember, all previous winning submittals are available for review and download within your All Chapter Leaders community of MySMPS. There's a chapter awards folder, and that's where they're all located. You know what? These previous winning submittals really can be used for review of what successful chapters are doing to effectively serve their members, our members. If you're looking for ideas on membership recruitment, ideas on new member orientations, how to train volunteers, how to engage past chapter leaders, perhaps social media usage, you need some ideas. Ideas for scholarships, mentoring programs, educational programs, and networking events, well, these winning submittals all serve as excellent resources. I encourage you to check them all out and perhaps consider conducting an apples-to-apples review of chapters in your size category and or similar market. What are these chapters doing that perhaps you could be doing as well? And implementing the SFE judging criteria into your chapter strategic planning is a best practice. Can't stress this enough. You can use the SFE criteria as a checklist of what your chapter needs to be doing, at the very least, to effectively serve your members. Remember, there are 5 areas of the SFE criteria: programming, education, leadership, chapter management, membership, communications, financial health. Go down, review all 5 areas, check, check, check. Oops, whoop, what? No check here. Let's go back. Let's review some submittals, see what other chapters are doing and where we can fill our gaps. You can get some really great ideas to implement into your chapter strategic planning and go for it in the next year. Remember, the criteria really is a roadmap to serve your members effectively. I encourage you to share the judging criteria page with your directors, chairs, teams, and really ensure that you're on the right path for this upcoming year. If you have any questions, you can feel free to contact me on how you can approach and enroll your criteria or the checklist into your strategic planning. And speaking of strategic planning, I know it's the season. I know many chapters are right now in July 2017. I know many chapters are conducting their strategic planning right now, if you haven't already. And are you aware we have a strategic planning toolkit? This is available for you to review and follow. It's available also within your All Chapter Leaders community for download. And I've also attached it as a handout to this program. So it's a toolkit that you can use. So you now have the updated chapter awards criteria info you can share with your team. I hope you're encouraged to submit for this 2016-17 year. I know you're doing great things. You have the time frame now to share, to get ready, to organize all your ideas and put it into a submittal. Why wouldn't your chapter want to showcase all the great things you're doing? At the very least, highlight that great social media campaign you plan to conduct, or your website, or that one successful program you held this past winter. We really do look forward to your submissions, and I'm here if you have any questions on SFE and or CPY, or how the criteria can both serve and assist tremendously in your chapter strategic planning. It's all spelled out for you right on the criteria pages. So I'm checking out the questions. I didn't see any coming in as I was going along, and I'm looking at them now. We have a couple questions. Someone has asked about the awards gala. I heard the awards gala changed to Build Business. What's the deal? Yes, the awards gala has changed. It's now called the SMPS Evening of Excellence, and it's no longer a sit-down dinner. It's now a reception that includes food, and the event setup really allows for more time for us all to network and socialize, and of course, be eating and drinking, in addition to celebrating our honorees. And so the 2017 Chapter Award winners will be honored at this Evening of Excellence held at Build Business 2018 in Indianapolis. Great question. Next question. How do I get members of my team access to the All Chapter Leaders community of MySMPS? Great question. By default, if your team of volunteers is recorded as volunteers, if the president or president-elect member of your board sends us your board roster, If we record them here at headquarters as volunteers, they're automatically populated into the community, and they have access to all that it offers. Their discussion lists, the library of resources, where all these great documents are that I've been pointing out during today's program. So please ensure you provide us a list of your volunteers, and the volunteer roster is now due to Julio. We'll make sure your folks are recorded and they'll have immediate access. Next question. I've assisted my chapter submit for both SFE and CPY, and I'd like to serve as an SFE judge. Oh, well, that's great. How do I get selected? Okay, so there you are. You can apply through the call for volunteers. That's out now on our SNPS website. It's on the committees and task force pages. So you're going to have to be a current member of SNPS and have been a member for the past 5 years. And you also must have served as a chapter volunteer for at least 2 years and not be committed to serve on your chapter board in 2017, 2018. And I know the exception is made for past presidents. And time to time, keep in mind, we have other opportunities that pop up for volunteering. So if you're interested, please submit. And if you're not chosen for the specific opportunity that you would like to, the position that you'd like, another opportunity might present itself for you. I encourage you all to get involved. We'd love to have some more folks volunteer to be SFE judges or CPY judges. It's great. Okay, again, folks, if you have any questions, you can submit them. Okay, next question. How do I know in which size category to submit for SFE? Great question. Okay, so we have 4. We have small, medium, large, and extra large. Small chapters are comprised, and you'll know your small chapter, you'll be in the small chapter category. Small chapters have 1 to 50 members. Medium chapters have 51 to 100 members. And large have 101 to 200 members. Our extra large chapters are comprised of 201 and more, plus more folks than 201 are comprised of our extra large chapters. So great questions. Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions. I think this would be a good time for us to wrap up. I want to thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions on the Chapter Awards program or any questions related to chapter services, I encourage you to reach out to any member of our chapter services team. Again, I thank you for joining us today. I really look forward to seeing your chapter's wonderful submittals for either CPY and or SFE. This is going to end today's program. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.